So as you already know, I hate to say this, but um, yeah, I mean I have to reinstall the virtual machine. That's exactly what I will do with Kubeadm. I think I will exactly what I do with Node Master 2 as well. So if I run in if I let's master one, so worker one, for example. I'm not sure if I have to reinstall everything, but at least we found a way to actually um, fix the problem, right? By really we just uninstall everything, just remove the whole operating system. I don't really understand what is cloud in it, but the idea is that I just want to use cloud init to relay configuration IP addresses, like yeah, this gateway IP addresses and things like that. So I have never I have a good luck on it so far, but I think there's a way to do this, by using some kind of cloud init. And the good thing is about cloud init is actually um, you can actually use a template, right? So I never configure the cloud init, but what I will actually do is I just basically create the same thing, and possibly I will just create some IP configuration, and I hope that works in some way. I mean, here there's some kind of IP configuration for the first IP addresses and gateway, things like that. So we can actually put an IP addresses. But for Ubuntu, do we actually need to, you know, really do some kind of I've never tried that, but it's really interesting to know that.
You like わかりますか？嫌いな車？そうそうそう。嫌いな車アプリを2台で一緒に。いい日だった。なんかサーキットでなんか。
So that's why I have all these Yokohama sectors right now. It's kind of like a scholarship. So according to your results,
Yeah.
you get some tires.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, but you know it's quite hard to because it's a very competitive.
This is Tomo changing his AC knobs. Look how good this shit is. Oh my god. Look at it. Look at this. Yeah, literally. Okay, put it like there and just yank it out. Okay. So, all right. So I'm here with the owner of this lovely yellow S13. Her name is Saejima-san. なんかニックネームとかありますか？なんか。ネウ。ネウ。ネウ。ネウ。ネウ。ネウ。ネウ。ネウ。ネウさん。ネウさん。So this is ネウさん。はじめまして。よろしくお願いします。なんか車すごいですね。ドリシャ。Oh, is that a girl? All right, boys. Found my next video. I'm just kidding, but maybe I'm not. Let me talk to this lady. すみません。これお姉さんの車ですか？あ、そうですそうです。すごい綺麗ですね。いや汚いもん。なんか動画だったら撮ってもいいですか？あ、全然大丈夫です。大丈夫ですか？ Okay, hang on. First, let me get some video of this. Can you film this? Film me. Hello, guys.
The next gargoyle video. Maybe. I don't know.
なんかドリフトするんですか？
もともとは最近は全然。
ちなみになんか僕はドキュメンタリーとか作ってて、なんか車の紹介とかオーナーの
Bullshit, man. You know why I'm have make things a bit slow? Because I spend whole much of time just
Here that you know for sure from the bottom, that's the package I have one, and having an SSH key is highly recommended.
Using Cloud Images, along with Cloud init, is a great way to provision Linux machines in Proxmox. Cloud init is a standard Linux package that helps take care of the initialization of a virtual machine instance. When using Cloud init, you can configure your network settings and your SSH keys so that when your machine starts up for the first time, it has the right settings. And Cloud Images are minimal, customized images of Linux that are meant to run in public clouds. Most of these images, like the ones from Ubuntu, are certified and optimized to run in public clouds like AWS, Google, Azure, OpenStack, and more. And these cloud images already have Cloud init on them, just waiting to be configured. And the good news is that Proxmox uses these too. So today, we're going to configure a virtual machine on Proxmox to use a cloud image. We're going to configure Cloud init on that machine, giving us the flexibility to bootstrap these machines with our settings before they're created. And then we'll turn this machine into a template, creating an easy way to provision new machines with our network settings, SSH keys, and more, and without the need of cleaning up things afterwards. And we'll do all this in just a couple of minutes. So to create our Ubuntu cloud image, the first thing we'll need to do is download the Ubuntu cloud image. We can download this from the repository. Now, I'm going to download the focal image, or the current LTS. But feel free to download any one you like. Once you're inside of this folder, you'll want to find the one labeled Focal Server Cloud Image AMD64.img. Now, instead of downloading this, you'll want to actually copy the link to the download to your clipboard, because we need to do this inside of a terminal. Now, this might not make sense right now, but we're actually going to use this image as the hard drive for our virtual machine. Then you'll want to SSH into your Proxmox server. Once you're in your server, we'll download the image with wget. Next, we'll run a command to create a virtual machine. And the reason why we're doing this is so we can attach that image we just downloaded to this virtual machine. Then we'll go back to the GUI. So the command we're going to run is qm create 8000. So 8000 is an ID. You can pick any ID you want, but I'm going to pick a high ID so I can identify this for when we use it as a template later. We're going to set the memory to 2048 or 2 gigs. We're going to name this Ubuntu Cloud. I'm going to set the networking to use the virt.io driver, and we're going to set it to bridge mode, and I'm telling it to use the interface vmbr0. And don't worry, all of these commands will be in the documentation, and you can find that in the description, so you can just copy and paste all this. So we've created that VM, and we can actually see it in Proxmox here, but we're not done yet, so let's go back to the terminal. The next command we're going to run is a qm import disk, and then the ID of this machine, and then pointing to the cloud image that we downloaded right here, and then we're telling it local LVM, so this is where we're going to put it. So this is saying import the disk on this ID, use this image, and then place it in local LVM. Now, you don't have to put it in local LVM. You can put it anywhere you want. For example, I'm going to put mine in fast10. And this maps to one of your storage devices that are attached to that server. So I'm going to upload mine here. And there we go. So it uploaded that image. And the next command we're going to use, this is the last one, hang in there, is qm set 8000. And then we're going to set SCSI hardware, virt.io SCSI PCI, and then SCSI 0 to local LVM and to that disk we just uploaded. So this is configuring that virtual machine. We're adding a SCSI controller, and then we're adding a SCSI drive and attaching the disk that we just uploaded. And again, if you put yours somewhere else, like I did, it will be in that device that you specified earlier. It's the one we ran. It could be that are specified. Local cloud passes on it for T direct this if you want the terminal. We have a cloud init back to the GUI. And if we just configure, we can actually see. If you might not in a boot disk speed, because we'll end up, but we way that go back to use when it boots up for the word domains key. Now configure it's that but thing. So CP. Now or do that same thing in IP.
Interesting. Let me take a look at this one. So cloud init is actually the way to go, I would say, because I can configure the IP addresses. But the point is that how do I use as cloud init things? Okay.
IPv6, but we'll use DHCP. Now, or do that same thing in IPv6, but we'll use DHCP. Now, this caught me up for a minute, but the default value is static of nothing. So if you don't set anything, you're not going to have any network access at all. This tripped me up for a minute. So, at bare minimum, set it to DHCP and hit OK. So, a word of caution. Once you create this template, you don't want to start it up. The reason is because if you start that machine, you'll bootstrap that machine with a machine ID and a UUID. And if that happens, you'll end up with the same machine config across all your templates. So don't start it up. If you did, there are ways to reset it, but I would highly recommend just recreating it and start with a good state. So now that we have a cloud image with cloud init, we should create a template from this. So to create a template, we can right-click and convert to template. But before we do, I know you're probably asking, well, why didn't you install the QEMU guest agent or any other tool? Well, I've run into issues before where I install the guest agent and then create clones from it. But rather than bake those things into this image, I end up automating it with Ansible later. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. So I'm gonna keep this base image as clean as possible. Now, well, it's totally fine. And arguably, you could install some tools on this machine ahead of time. But again, I like to keep mine as clean as possible so that I don't have to undo anything. For me, spin this up, different icon. We get options to create this clone from that base image. So for the name of the first one, I'm going to name it Yo. If it's have a link, this bound one who that's that means. And while that's starting up, let's create another one. So let's create another clone. Let's name this one Bowser, and we're going to choose a full clone again, and we're going to choose the storage it belongs to. Mine again is fast. So clone this one. So while that's cloning, let's check on Yoshi. So Yoshi is booted up, and we can see usually not happy in general. Bowser's not a happy person. But this virtual machine of Bowser, he's going to be pretty happy. Okay, now with Bowser, up and we that, as I mentioned before, when machine IP looked at and then shut it back down.
I mean, using cloud init is a way to go, but to use this with Terraform is another thing. The idea is that I really want is to not waiting for the Ubuntu to boot up again for too long. So that's the main takeaway. don't know how can I add a cloud image here. Okay, I don't know. Is this the only way I do it? Does anything a bit less? First, I want to download Ubuntu Cloud Init. So we have cloud image, a cloud init, and then we have a cloud template, sorry, VM template, and then we boot the VM template into a VM. I mean, we can do that, right? I mean, it's just like that. I have never tried that, but yeah, it's really interesting way to work things out by creating a template, and we don't need to boot up anything, which is really important. So my takeaway here, I would just do the same things like this guy do. I think this is very good 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 place to start, and I can combine it with Terraform template. Sorry, Terraform code to really using this template now. I'm not sure what exactly I need to do next, but I would go with this one for now. And you know, it's really important you actually have something to base on and run it. I'm not sure if I can create. I will just go with this one for now. I will be right back in next video to really run this one. It's really interesting to me. Yeah, I would go with this one.